A little bit of an embarrassing time there for Envy.
A little bit.
We spoke about them during the pre-game. We said, oh, okay, look, this is an opportunity for them to go against one of the other teams that was lower down the standings. Yes, you're a new team, but look, we want to see some good stuff from JDM. But they got absolutely wrecked at points there. I was just thinking, well, if I joined the server, I'd probably be more of a benefit.
No, yeah, I mean, what can you say about this one then, James?
There is nothing you can say. The thing that bothers me the most is when we've seen Envy in the past, right? They've at least looked like they've got some cohesion. They're playing a team game. But this just looked like no one gave a damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously they get a rough start. They lost the pistol, and then the numbers start going on INTZ's favor. And something I said before the game is that, you know, if the Brazilians will throw a bit of aggression here and there, that might be an issue. And so they start off by pushing Ivy in the first weapon round, and Envy just doesn't have an answer. And what's the worst to look at these rounds is the fact that Envy is just trying to like kind of have everyone do some kind of a hero play one by one, instead of, like you said, having cohesion when there's an idea of, okay, we're gonna push ladder and you guys are gonna push out of team main simultaneously. Instead, what you would have is you'd have two players above pop, for example, trying to harass a player, play an aggressive pop, and then you would have Semphis and team main just randomly deciding to step outside without anyone having the possibility of trying to get a retaliation frag on the guy that gets the kill on Semphis. So that's kind of the telling story of this whole matchup through and throughout.
I just feel like our analysis was like, we were really giving Envy some hope, and then they came onto this and it just didn't look good. And what annoys me more is, like, we spoke about Cutler, right? He ended up on 4-4-17 or something crazy like that. Now, okay, we can all have bad games, I don't deny it, but you need your players to step up because there's such a mixed bag of characters within that roster. But also, we've got to lend some credit to the INTZ side, right? Because they did all play as a team. They got away with a very strong CT side to start off with, which then meant we didn't need to see too much from their T side, which obviously will benefit them. But overall, they certainly put on the best performance we've seen from them as of yet.
Yes, they stood their ground and they aimed their crosshairs, you know, appropriately, and they click mouse one when need be, and that's pretty much it, because they were not pressured, they were not put in awkward positions. They too many times, like an example of Envy's main rush basically is them rushing out, actually getting an entry kill. I think it becomes a 4-on-3 situation advantage of Envy, but then everyone just spreads around. There's no plan. Like, there's nothing in the mid-round situation after the rush happens of what do we do now? Like, who's going to be focusing towards the bomb train? The rotation comes in, and they are just literally like 3-4 Ts spread across outer bomb site, just being free kills without any idea what they're doing. So, I mean, even if you're doing like a fast-paced strat, it's like a rush, you have an idea. Either you want to like take the quad control, or you're just basically plummeting your way to the bomb site, and then, you know, some kind of an idea. But instead, they would just run out and then nothing, absolutely nothing. And that's super easy for the Caesars to hold off when there's no idea of what's really happening after the initial push.
So let's ignore Train, because no one wants to think about that game again. No one even wants to talk about that game anymore. Next up, we're moving to Cash. And the bit of shining light I have here is that Envy recently took down Complexity. Okay, 16-14, very close on it. But Complexity also have started to rise up a little bit better off the back of style of playing online. We've seen some better results out of them. So that is a sign of promise, at least. And it's a map like Cash where we can see Nifty get away with some craziness. We can see JDM get involved with his AWP a little bit more. But it just concerns me of how badly they played that trade. Now, they're all capable, right? They've all played for a long time. They should be able to reset themselves mentally, but they actually need to hit their shots now. Yeah,
I mean, that's a win against the Complexity that's had their troubles of their own. First of all, something to take into account that they've not been playing that great. And also, if you thinking back to that match, it was still nothing amazing on their T sides and what they were doing. Again, it was a lot of Nifty just roaming the map, somehow making his way to checkers and B, you know, catching rotations off guard. And a lot of things need to go right for them to be winning rounds. It's not like it's systematic. It's not like they have these, you know, well thought out plans of how do we ambush the CTs, or how do we, you know, try to make sure that they can't hold middle in a specific way, or yada yada yada. Like, that's usually the way you approach a map like Cash. Yes, obviously, it's a good thing they have W on the map, so that's obviously a bit of confidence going for them. But if anything goes the way it did on Train here, I think it's going to look horrible. But there is the positive side that they have some positive experience from the previous time.
Now, looking at the other side of things for INTZ, this is a map that they don't play as massively regularly. They're not playing as many games across, but we last saw them play it during the Chicago qualifiers, which I actually ended up commentating myself. They lost out to Luminosity on that one, which overall they ended up losing the series to Luminosity. But we don't have a big set of games to look at here for this team. So at least for me, when I'm looking at this for INTZ, yes, okay, you should know how to play it, but it really is just going to rely on how tactically can they be prepared for it, because that was our biggest criticism of them in the past.
Sure. I mean, you can get away with basic fundamentals on Cash, but at the same time, you know, we saw them play aggressive on the city side of Trade, and that really threw EnVy off super badly. So if they continue to do that, since the map really opts for, and it gives you those opportunities, I think that can definitely be a problem here for EnVy going to the Cash. But you know, that's for us to be seen then.
Now, we speak about how much time we give teams to get ready. In terms of EnVy, right, this is a lineup that got rid of their past lineup because they wasn't getting the results they wanted. They clearly want to see a bigger success come out of their CSGO lineup. Now, this roster was kind of put together. Everyone was surprised and shocked. It was a nice change, right? EnVy go back to North America. But how long do you think it is until they go, okay, like, we need to change some pieces here?
I mean, I don't know. For me, as an outsider looking in, this compilation of players looks super odd. Yeah. In my opinion, honestly. I mean, sure. I mean, if you look at the names, you're thinking JDM, Nifty, and Drone are probably the ones that you want to be heavily starting in Cutler, and Zemphys are going to be bringing in the experience factor and middleman, be the support guys, throwing the nades when need be. But so far, from what we've seen, really, I'm not really that excited, honestly. They've not shown much. It's already been quite a few matches. You would expect them to be showing you glimpses of capability, of playing well as a team, if that was to happen. So I'm not going to throw them under the bus yet, but it's definitely not looking great so far. It
certainly isn't looking great as we prematurely zoom in on to you guys. You just stand there looking all awkward for a while. Welcome back, guys.
Awkward, man.
Yeah. It's just you in general look awkward. And yeah, there you go, Connor. Make sure you get that looks, get the smiles in. Look at him. Trying to be a little pretty boy. But EnVy, right? It wasn't looking pretty for this lineup at all.
No. Are you guys done roasting them?
Yeah. Well, we didn't have much to say.
Yeah.
It's how do you give any analysis on something that just didn't look together? It didn't look complete. And I think for Cash, okay, they got a better chance. It's a map like Cash can be used to. But I would just give the edge now completely to the Brazilians.
How do you analyze anything or something that even EnVy hasn't thought through?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they actually do, but it feels like they were playing like they hated each other. It felt like they weren't. It felt like they weren't talking to each other. You know, there weren't many nades used. I don't know if we can pull up that stat line somehow, but there just weren't many nades thrown, and it seemed like they weren't communicating very well.
Well, when you guys cover this game, I'll go and look at the stats, and I'll find out how many nades and flashes were thrown, and we'll see if it's a big fat 0 or maybe a 1 or 2 in there. But take Cash away for us now, guys.
At least we get Train. I mean, sorry, at least we're away from Train.
Right, away from Train into Cash. I mean, there is one win for the boys of EnVyUs here on Cash. Right?
Yeah.
They overtook. I have to stop saying EnVyUs, by the way. It's only Team EnVy now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, apparently they rebranded.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, just EnVy.
I
So underneath the logo too, just Team EnVy.
I like that because the style of EnVyUs, I guess, where they had like the, I mean, I still don't think they do the uppercase, lowercase thing.
Yeah, not a big fan of that.
It's just very old. It's just a very old way of.
Right.
It used to be cool.
Reminds me of that SpongeBob meme. You know.
Yeah. That's actually Drone's favorite meme.
Yeah, it is. He loves his SpongeBob. But this is where, of course, EnVy did overtake Complexity in a 16-14 fashion. That was a surprising result for me.
Yeah.
So let's hope that you know, we kind of get not that 30% type setup situation from EnVy, where we saw on Train, you know, they'd be piecing it together, but then it all unfold prior to them getting to pull the trigger. Obviously, this one has not gone their way. 5v1 scenario for Zemphys and a pistol. Never very likely. And INTZ keep it with the clean sweep. So they begin Cash the way they finish Train off convincingly.
Yeah, this is cool. I'm looking forward to this because I'm glad that we get to see EnVy twice a day. So, you know, we can see when we were talking about their Train and all the things that they were doing wrong, that it had more to do with Train than anything else. So at least with Cash, we'll maybe see a better game plan going into it. I honestly would have liked to see their T side, which we know we'll get to see in the second half at the very least. But then we can kind of compare and contrast what their game plan looks like in general, because it felt more fundamental than anything else. So here, EnVy have decided to save Team EnVy, not Team EnVyUs, with the lowercase, uppercase. What do you call it? Typography.
No, I think
the typography is only for in motion. When you have, we're gonna look up the definition of typography to see if it actually refers to
The style and appearance of printed matter.
Typography. Okay.
So I was thinking. I always. You know what I always confuse that with? I always confuse that with topography.
Oh, for mapping.
Yes, the art of graphic delineation on maps or charts. So be careful, folks. Typography, topography.
Don't want to ever end up in a situation where you confuse those words.
Don't want to be seen a fool.
Yeah.
But now we're into the gun rounds. All right. Let's cut the tomfoolery and let's see what Envy have to hold.
Who's Tom?
Biz.
Bismeyer?
Yes.
The
Kind of looks like Moses.
best Snapchat on the internet.
He's got a good one. He's been living in Ukraine a little while.
Yours isn't too bad either.
My what?
Your Snapchat.
Oh yeah.
Where can they find you?
My Snapchat.
You even use it
for that?
Okay.
My.
Oh wow, I didn't know I was looking at illicit or explicit Snapchats.
I've been trying to get into Instagram story,
Good.
but it's still fresh for me. You know, you gotta figure out what the kids are up to nowadays. Right now it's INTZ site, and they're creating a distraction with the door wide open, making some noise, and they never expected Phelps to just walk right in. He blasts away 3. The A site crumbles beneath the feet of Envy in a matter of seconds, and that's, well, a follow-up plan.
That was nasty by Phelps, man. That was a couple of really nice entries. I like how simplistic the A site execute was with one cross smoke, a couple of flashes, and the walkout. I think that's, I've said it before, kind of all you need to take the site. The real battle comes when you have to put the bomb down, and then the CTs can think about retaking, because with a couple of good Molotovs, one on default, one on quad, one on forklift, there's no spots left to stand in, and it's so easy to Molotov those spots because the choke points from truck and the choke point from highway are so wide. And so you can throw those nades from safety, and if you have 3 CTs up against 4 Ts, sometimes that's more than enough to retake. But there's Phelps to not only entry on the site, but once the bomb crosses, swings out just a bit more and takes 2 insane duels. I mean, you can't really blame Envy for not being able to hold there. It's more the Phelps show than anything else. And here he is just, Semphis tries to pull off the off angle, but Phelps comes creeping into it. Maybe there's oh wow, Jadian was just, he didn't assume that was going to happen.
No, I think that goes back to, I think that just goes back to incredibly clean headshots from Phelps. Like you said, the Phelps show. Plucking him off of the toxic. He was just jumping up, playing around, and Phelps is not playing at all. Okay, we're here for business. Cello in anticipation of the boost, just keeping eyes towards it, and there is a player there.
I think he saw when he jumped up. I think his head bounced, but I'm not entirely sure.
There you have it. Whether he saw it the first time, he definitely saw it the second time round.
Phelps was there too, in good company. Here on the eco round, Drone has decided to. Oh, he's actually sitting around truck with the Falmouth Stadium. Nice clean P250 kill. Very nicely done.
Now that INTZ have themselves established to the 4v3, they're going to work towards A. We do have the pushed up Semphis here in B main, and there's also a player pushed up in A main as well. Neither of which will manage frags. Luckily, Phelps will help them out slightly, but unfortunately for Drone, he's on the opposite side of the map, and there's even a nearby threat, so it's not like he can just sprint over and try to get ahead of them. No, he's got to deal with this duel first and foremost. We'll find Horvey at least, and the bomb's still not planted, so if Drone really wants to take his chances, just sprint on over. Doors open, come on in.
I'd think about it. There's just not a trail of dead bodies where he can pick up grenades for on the way. He doesn't have a kit. And so, yeah, it looks like he's just going to decide to save. It's probably the best option. It's the most responsible option.
It's important to be responsible from time to time.
Yeah.
You know, answer emails, cut your toenails.
Cut your toenails.
That kind of stuff.
Are you sporting some longer, elongated toenails at the moment?
No, I'm fresh.
Fresh.
Freshly trimmed.
Oh, so we're talking like this morning cut them.
Yeah, before work.
You sit down on the toilet seat, have the toilet down, seat down so you don't fall in, and then cut your toenails?
Yeah. Actually. Sometimes, you know, if you're feeling limber that day, you just stick them up by the sink. You know?
You ever try to do a yoga tree pose and cut your toenails?
No.
Me
no, I
neither.
don't think so.
Never done that before.
Are you sure? You look guilty.
I don't look guilty.
Well, the viewer doesn't know that
It's
because
an
they can't see
audio-only broadcast.
They have to take my word.
I have to sound guilty, otherwise I'm acquitted.
Innocent until proven guilty. Desperate until in the buy. That's where Envy finds himself finally. Back up to it. Double sniper as well from JDM and Nifty. That's interesting. I'm all for that. You know, we didn't get to see them actually manage 5v4 situations on Train too often, so maybe the snipers will be a good way to at least get that positioning. You know, get that slight edge, at least even for a moment. Right now, Horby's been afforded a lot of space. This is reminiscent of Phelps' walkout onto the A site, but luckily for Nifty, he does get vision just prior to the CT striking. All the while, JDM will pick one up on the opposite side of the map. And INTZ, well, they've been pushed into the back of quad. Sure, they have the A site. They could actually just go ahead and plant and forego the chances after the fact. It's not a good look for them, but hell, it's still something. Considering you're in a 3v5, plant's not a bad spot. Now we get a good look at EnVy's retake. One of the first times they'll actually have a wholesome retake attempt with the frag grenades, Molotovs, and even with a couple kills. But playing it patiently, and that's perfect. Minimizing their losses, and this is going to put them in a fantastic spot in the follow-up round, Launders, where they most certainly need to convert.
That was great. That was great. They pushed in like in the right order. Everyone was not overshooting at any point. They were able to keep high numbers the whole time. I actually think that from INTZ's perspective, that was a unique way to take the site. I guess that's one way to put it, but they didn't have a cross smoke. And sometimes if you want to do a burst out squeaky, you have to pull the attention of the guy who's on highway. And we saw, for example, Ghost did an execute where they did cross smokes at mid, and that allowed them to pull the attention of the highway guy so they could do kind of a burst. But in this round, they used a B exec to, I guess, pull that attention. Great boost as Cutler gets caught crossing to the sugar cube, taken out of the round early, 1 minute 35, and you can definitely anticipate that EnVy are going to try to make up for this quickly. So Horby is the man who will be waiting for a push. Nifty has not overextended in his spot, and Semphis is also going to try to be plan B, but Cello's still up here, top of the truck. He has not left his post. Drone eats a nice flash. That's a pretty strong one. You'd love to see it, and Phelps is there to trade him out, and suddenly all of the CTs are gone. It is JDM alone once again. Seen this before. Plenty of targets here at mid. One goes down. Second one, shot missed, and KG trades immediately. So EnVy on the hot, no, not the hot reset. They at least save some money, and Nifty's got $7,600, so they can make up for this. But that's a pretty good kill right there. To start the round off.
I was going to say, talk about hot resets. I mean, catching the guy through the flames, Launders, that's a minimal angle. It's a very crucial shot coming off of the op.
Oh my god, it's Jason Bourne.
One-man show. It's actually quite the team effort at the moment. Picking them apart. But like you said, enough to buy back in with at the very least. Doesn't put them in the best of positions, but it's still a little something. JDM here, glass cannon. So, not on the strongest of legs. Posted up and waiting for that walk around, but the smoke goes down, so he's going to have to change up his position slightly. It's the pinch out from Squeaky Door 2, and JDM's now removed. We're going to watch the Cello walk out. Semphis takes the high road. Cello starts to swing around. He wants to punish this, and he does, just as Zan clears Cutler from the smoke. So one after another, bodies stacking up on the A site. This is INTZ convincingly taking another round.
EnVy had the numbers. They had 3 people on the site. JDM dying is huge. There are some kills that just simply can't come for free, and if you have an opper over at fence, he's got to be able to deliver. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case here. And then the 2 other players on the site, it was actually because of the execute that INTZ had. A couple of great flashes to flash the catwalk player off of position for Cello to get that kill, and then a player at Forklift who naturally gets Molotoved is also pushed out of position. And then the most surprising part is that EnVy don't get a single kill, but ultimately, I gotta say that INTZ pulled off the execute quite well, and I much prefer this approach to the A site as opposed to the one where they decided to burst out a squeaky and tried to catch EnVy off guard. I think this made a lot more sense. So that's putting EnVy back on a save. Unfortunately, for EnVy, INTZ look very good at the moment. I also have to say that as much as we're talking about EnVy and how lackluster they look, INTZ are delivering round after round. The kills look good. The team play looks good. The flashes and nades look good. It's much more, it's a stark contrast to the INTZ that we've seen in some of the other games throughout the season. But sometimes it's easy to shine when you are facing a team that is much worse.
Easier to shine on all counts as well, right? I had just said this in between the matches. Like Zand, who I think is fairly criticized throughout most of the results so far this season, he actually had a hell of a start just there on train. So that kind of bolsters you, I think, as a team when you know everybody's aware, right, that he has been kind of a little lacking. And so when he can start off great, you're thinking to yourselves, nice, this could be the night where we sweep our matches because everything seems to be working straight away. You know, there's no warm-up period for him. So they've transitioned that here into the second map clearly. A T-side running away from EnVyUs, who still find themselves kind of strapped for cash, but at least now they've gotten to a point where they can buy up slightly. So increasing those odds incrementally.
So let's build on this. Let's see where EnVy decide to take it. I can definitely rationalize for them how the rounds that they lost went down and why it looked like EnVy did, or INTZ did just such a good job applying pressure on those rifle rounds. You know, you couple that with the pistol round and you have a great way to contextualize the half so far. That's awesome, but EnVy cannot be given too many excuses, especially if this continues. You know, drones here lining up the smoke to spam anybody crossing through. Doesn't take any spam in response, which is quite nice, but INTZ are going to be able to plant the bomb 5v5, and that's going to have the CTs feel comfortable taking the liberty of pushing in almost one at a time here as they are saving armor to get a single kill. Oh my gosh, it's actually a 2v2 for just a flash. But it is just a flash in the pan as they go down right after.
At least we get back into that full buy. Remember, the one round we saw EnVy actually pick up did come off the back of a couple loppers. Right, they managed that pick on the B main, pick over towards A main, and then a 5 versus 3 retake into the A site. That was the formula for the single success. They've got that yet again in their hands, but will it unfold the same? Step 1's good. Nifty catches his kill.
And sometimes step 1 is all it takes. You get the 5v4, you have a lot of time to delay. That flash was a little short by Cutler, I think. It also hit Tempest right in the face, but the follow-up is nice. However, Phelps is just a bit too clean to allow him to go down without trading. And fortunately for him, or fortunately for Sempis, Cutler is right behind him. The man who threw the flash initially managed to make his way all the way into the A main as well. So now we've got the SIG, but the SIG has his work cut out for him.
KNG comes back for the pinch. The CT is still unable to cross back because the door's so wide open. You know, they push into A main. That's the portion they wanted. Now they've got the scope towards the deep door. So it's op versus op.
I'm not sure why this popped into my mind, but are pinatas made out of paper mache?
I think so. I mean, if they're homemade, definitely.
What if they're store-bought?
Maybe they're cardboard? Maybe it's cardboard.
Yeah?
I don't think I've ever seen something made of paper mache in a store.
I imagine hitting like a cardboard box, and then I don't see it exploding.
Not the same way. That's why you gotta make it at home.
Gotta make it at home, right.
Just worth the difference. But let's see if KNG's worth anything on the entry. Gets one. Cutler behind the fork. But that's the bomb thrown down. Little miscommunication. If that had come swifter and the bomb actually gets able to cross, then maybe, just maybe, INTZ wins this round. Zan, for a player who's looking to keep up his money and not die after time, he goes on a bit of a tear there, and understandably so.
It's a hard thing to get excited about because it's just exit kills. But if we think about the fact that EnVy are, without those exit kills, EnVy are not in danger of a reset. Those 2 kills mean that now EnVy have only won that round with a single player alive. That means that almost every single one of their players are going to be buying down to 0. So they are not safe here, and they don't even have a great buy to couple with those kills. And we can see why they wanted to go for them. They had an opportunity there to kill everyone from INTZ and at least get ahead, at least to start to pose a threat on the comeback, but now don't have that as well. The match pause is called. We are finally out of it.
Yeah, finally in the clear.
Finally in the clear. The last 5 minutes, we didn't have a situation where Connor had spilled tea all over the Master's control setup, and that's not why I was doing play-by-play or anything like that.
I think we covered it well.
It would have been totally fine if I had not mentioned it.
Yeah.
In great detail in those last few moments.
But you keep me on my toes. You keep me on my toes. Last time I'm giving.
I think the viewers deserve to know. And I'm lucky that you didn't get fried.
Yeah, blow up the system. I can tell you that much. No more liquids. The next 24 hours. There is no liquid here, just EnVy and INTZ. JDM can't manage a second one. Cello with the wide swing blows him open, and that does leave a hole in the A site, although Semphis trying to widen himself to plug it. Fire's going to make his job even more difficult, but still he manages the headshot first, exchanging damage with Cello, and will pick up the kill, but Horvy's up close, does not anticipate the immediate trade frag like that. INTZ working a 2v2 in close proximity to these remaining CTs, who now have just a single flash between them. Bomb's gonna be faked once, peek, shot, and a kill on top of it. Nifty denied, leaving Drone the only difference maker. A second fake, and Drone's position confirmed, so at that moment, Zan takes the high road.
Nifty takes the liberty of peeking in that situation when the bomb goes down, but it's a 2v2, and I feel like it was too high risk of a situation where even if the bomb wasn't stuck, there was still a player waiting to jump up. And if that had gone down, maybe Drone is in a position to watch that, but maybe Nifty just dies, and I feel like Drone's in a much more awkward position. It smelled like bait a little bit,
yeah.
And Nifty didn't see it that way, but you could totally see why INTZ would be worried about trying to put the bomb down, and you would think that they would have some kind of insurance policy, and they definitely did. So it was another round where they bullied their way out A, and they managed to surmise a good situation with 2v2 and somewhat site control, but after that, I think it might have come down to a bit too risky of a play in the 2v2.
Phelps clears JDM off the bomb site. There's still two bodies over here towards the B, but they fall one after another, and this is just INTZ working through the anti-ecos with absolute ease. We did see one pistol upset in the first map. EnVyUs managed to rob one back in the second round of the second half. But outside of that, I can't recall them doing all too much damage, you know? Getting into maybe some 3 survivor type situations. And even if this one goes down to 3, it's way too late to do anything about it. So INTZ just making mincemeat of EnVy.
Yeah.
Putting them through the grinder. Packaging them like little sausages.
Oh my gosh. Squeezing them into the casing.
Bet you they'll be on the breakfast buffet later today.
They probably taste delicious.
Probably.
Like
everything else has
the
been.
Buffet today, yes.
They had waffles yesterday.
They were fantastic waffles as well.
Yeah, the first morning you criticized me.
I thought you were going to clean the floor with them because they look like sponges. But I have to say, in your mouth, it's a whole different ballgame. Oh! That's Horvy's flash. Horvy's flash KNG. And then he swung out and then shot because he got scared by his own teammate's flash. It's like EnVy are so confused right now
like,
that I don't think they're questioning it.
KNG toxic, they all say. Understanding as to why was just our benefit, but man, oh man, Semphis has managed to pull this out of nowhere with a 3K Mohan.
That's not bad.
I mean, it was a 4v5 from the get-go. Gotta be cautious. I'm sure he's just spotted both bodies. Runs in, does take down the gun. So now Drone with the USP goes all the way inwards, upgrading into the op. His leg's been spotted. And Cello, fake flash.
Oh, so awkward. He has to stand the Molotov.
Slowing this down now with the utility. Playing with Drone. And he nails him on the repeat.
Insane. That's insane, man.
That is INTZ definitely spilling a cup of tea and then soaking it all up.
Oh, yeah. With the waffle. That's great. That was what a play from Cello. Very well done. It must be terrifying to come out of the vent in that situation, but he really called out exactly what he was going to go up against. And yeah, it really put Semphis' 3K to shame there. Unfortunately, that was a good 1v2 by Cello, man. We didn't get to see it from Drone's perspective, so the op shots that he missed, maybe he's kicking himself for. But it looked like the peaks were good enough that you could justify maybe pulling the trigger a bit too early. I think that's the number 1 thing we've noticed with players who are newer to opping on their respective lineups. If they just had to pick them up in one and done situations, if their opper died and it was a 1v whatever, is that they are way more prone to falling for shoulder peaks, more so than all of the more experienced offers.
Right. That's very true. You get the jitters with the scope. On JDM, I'm getting jitters too because it seemed like something was coming, and he goes from shoulder peak to shoulder peak without seeing anything at all, and then once, after about 5 of them, 3 INTZ players smack dab in the middle of mid, they silently transition this into the B split too. Nifty's still waiting for them to come out from checkers, but very wary of the Z control. I mean, once, of course, we get Semphis in that position, then Nifty can fixate forwardly entirely.
You made that word up.
Yep. Entirely forward was the plan. But the B site doesn't seem to be the plan entirely. They actually played Zand over towards A, where he gets shut down. Now doubling back, that bomb will guarantee the outcome. Cutler, sure, he got the kill, but none of his teammates could.
Bit late to call it, but would definitely like to see a bit more proactivity from EnVy in the early round. Try to abuse some of the advantages on cash. Simply changing up the game plan a little bit more. It feels like INTZ are given enough map control where they're comfortable going into their executes, whether it's a very simplistic A take or a simplistic B take. That is enough to work for them. So EnVy, I think, could try to throw a little bit of caution to the wind, maybe get in their face while they're trying to get set up, make them uncomfortable in sunroom, try to go for a B main smoke, have A main control more than 1 or 2 rounds and a half. I think a couple of these things would greatly benefit them, but here's their last round to kind of try it. I think they're definitely most encouraged to get map control on a round like this where they don't have much money in. Yeah, they're actually going for Squeaky, so that is one thing. And Zan's got the most awkward off angle. I wouldn't be surprised if he catches somebody off guard from here, but at this point EnVy have decided to retain Squeaky and fall back onto the site. And I'm not sure if Nifty, yeah, he actually makes his way out, closes the door behind him. Zand is now going to be alerted that there could be a potential push, and I'm kind of curious how this engagement will go.
Well, Morgan's position in sunroom finds the first one, then Phelps is enabled to try an entry with a second too. So the bomb's been left so far behind that, you know, they played with options open. They have themselves the goal, but they have to head back to the face-off. JDM's going to find it now, and Nifty could have done a little something more.
It's one way to get a face-off.
But he's all too pinched. Phelps very wary of the fact that this bomb's been left behind, so he clears his corners accordingly. And JDM could line up too. Oh, he's managed himself 3 frags now, but he doubles back, and that's the ace that could have been. It's what dreams are made of, and it's what ENTZ finish with. ENTZ manage a 13th round. And another incredibly convincing map here, Mohawk.
The exact same half, right? 13-2. Really unfortunate. Definitely wanted to see how EnVy look on their T side, but now again they're not going to have many chances to try to play it. So overall, ENTZ, I mean, they just look like they're completely outclassing EnVy at this point from almost every aspect of like any criteria that I can think of, and it's a really tough one because it feels like they're not doing anything too special. They're playing quite standard. The individual plays are just pretty good. The A takes are just solid, and overall trading is nice, and they're winning all their anti-ecos. So you know that's why we see a score half like this. And as for EnVy, they win a pistol, then maybe we get to see it half. If not, we're back on the same tracks that Train was. You know where those tracks laid?
Choo Choo Town.
It's going to be a recurring joke that no one ever understands.
Until they've heard it so many times.
Until they've heard it so many times, they are forced to laugh. Because there is actually no good reason to laugh at it, even for us.
No, there's really not.
So,
one of those things that kind of lingers. And while this match is still, of course, starting in the second half, a little update to the B stream. United actually pick up a win over Complexity, 16-9. So, United boys making quick work tonight, and same could be said for EnVy. As they try to gun themselves around these corners, Cello can't get into the corner. He is denied anything further. No fallback. Phelps trying to get lucky on a Saturday night, but just can't manage anything either, so he calls for help. He needs some wingmen.
tough situation to lose. They have the insurance policy. Semphis comes around from CT. The 2 players left are on the big flanks, but now they are going to be the most anticipated positions.
execution from KNG leaves us to the 2v2. They've just got to now get across from this door, and that's where Semphis cuts them down. He will manage an assist on the final frag, but that's Envy with at least a chance.
Very good.
Yes.
We get to see the T side.
At least something of it.
Yes. And if they lose the anti-eco, we know as much as we need to know, right?
Exactly.
So we know as much as we need to know.
Right.
Phelps has 25 kills.
On Train, they lost this pistol and then won the Force by themselves, right? So you'd think that they, in the back of their head, would be remembering the fact that these second rounds are never a guarantee.
They're not free.
But this one should be, because there's not even Kevlar on the board.
They haven't even forced ins. Phelps is on his hair, and that's going to be one of the main problems for sure. They're here to try to spray people down. This is, oh my god, this is how it all started.
Way.
2 people, they don't have armor, Connor. They've already lost 2 frags.
But they've lost so much health, you'd think it's safe to assume.
This is the same thing that B-Exec, oh my goodness, Semphis gets caught off guard. It's literally 2 people. You can't even favor them in this round anymore. At least 2v4. They don't have the bomb.
They have to group back up. I mean, we said it after the swapping of the sides, the changing of the maps. Like, sometimes feels like they're not even working together, working against each other. But Nifty clears out vents. He's got to come join Semphis before they really contest that bomb. Look how close Ints are getting.
Jeez.
Like a Venus flytrap slowly getting ready to snap down into the meat. Envy clearing one more corner now. This is starting to look likely. It seems as though they're pulling it back. Very crucial that they actually kill Cello, because now they have an escape route and a perfect flashbang, but Phelps is able to trade immediately through the head of Drone. Nifty tries to eject, and that's so dangerous, but he's been called back into action, and doing so allows him to find Zand.
It's a read game. This is really intense. Phelps has to decide. He can maybe hear that. So he's moving his way up highway. He's got low HP, but with so little time left on the clock, you're going to have to see a plant here. This makes it really awkward for Nifty as Phelps decides to move up. He's got to assume that he's somewhere close by, even if he doesn't know.
He has the health disadvantage, but the advantage of the AK. He makes it work. 6 HP, the difference. The Galil hits him from 36 to 6. That's got to be just one bullet. He has no Kevlar, no helmet, and they weren't supposed to have a chance in hell. But Ints rob one back.
Didn't even buy. Spent no money that round. Got a couple of P250s. And obviously it's Phelps who wins the round, who's just been playing extraordinarily well. The one player did not get flash in the 2v2 to take out Drone. The player at the end to win the 1v1. And it wasn't even off of Barrel stuffing the planter, right?
Nope.
It was just off of a read. Called out his rotation out of the site. Again, just outclassed.
And wins the gun duel.
Yep.
I mean, both players shooting at each other, both players making contact and doing damage, but not nearly enough versus Phelps. Or rather, nearly enough. He had 6 HP, and KNG picks up the opening frag. So this is looking done, Launders. If I had a fork, I'd stick it in it.
Stick it in them, in those breakfast sausages that they've become. Sad existence to become a breakfast sausage over any other meat. Though I rate breakfast sausages very highly, so.
It's also Danish breakfast sausages, okay? Don't forget that.
Quality meats out here in Daneland.
Grade A bacon. But now Phelps, he's lost his member inside of the site. He's just welcoming them forward.
Oh, he's spotted.
Yeah, should be seen. And Nifty gets another. I mean, he's just going to have to bail them out entirely, so it seems. Zan, with the AUG up, and KNG's rotate to heaven, will deny Envy entrance to the B site, where they have instead decided to head the other way. And it'll be a 3v2 retake by the time Envy gets there.
They've retained mid-control, so the CETs have some peace of mind here. They're going to see the smokes and flashes come out with 30 seconds left. I don't think they're going to assume this is some kind of elaborate fake. Bomb will go down. Player moves up to bomb wall. He's got an AWP. He's looking just for the wallbang damage, but he won't find any. Now they can finally move into safer spots, but they're still at a disadvantage.
Semphis' position could blindside the first, but he lets it pass. Now Cutler removes one, sure, but it does fall to Semphis versus Zand, and the bomb taps a fake. Zand creeping back out into the open just as Semphis looks away. He knows the defuse isn't being stuck, and it's a 10-second defuse on top of it, so the kill has to happen now. And even then, time looking way too minimal, but it's going to come down to the wire, I think. Launders,
No
he
way.
doesn't have this, does he?
No way he got that. Okay.
I mean, that would have been insult to injury.
It almost feels like that's just that just should have happened based on what we've seen this game. But
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it with 0.00 seconds
based
left.
on the rounds we've seen, right? Like, really, when it rains, it pours, and EnVy have been on the receiving end all map long, 2 maps long, and it hasn't been a long 2 maps. We're barely breaking 15 rounds or 16 rounds in each of these games. Drone, he actually makes sure to catch Zand off guard. This is good. They're not getting caught off guard on the eco rounds, which is nice. 5 players still up, and the kills are falling into place. Cello finds 1, very least. Drone, actually gets taken down, and at least they know now that these players are locked into the B site. But an op has been received for KNG. He's going to be happy to receive this gift.
Yeah, I'll try to hang on to it like a memento.
Ultimate stocking stuffer.
Need a really big stocking.
Just a giant bolt action sniper rifle in your stocking.
You know, I normally get like Hot Wheels.
Mom, what is this?
An orange.
An orange? You've received an orange and a stocking stuffer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it? So it was anonymous, yeah. So you don't even know who trolled you.
No, I think it was genuine. It was like a Christmas orange.
Is that what they made up? They told you that this is What are you talking about? It's a Christmas orange, Connor.
I don't know.
I
think it's just a good way to fill the bottom of the stocking. You need something big and hefty to really weight it all down.
Okay.
So you stuff an orange in
Is
there.
it just an orange and then cotton candy?
No.
What
some
else you got in there?
chocolates.
Okay.
Nice little chocolates.
A lot of food
some
so
Ferry
far.
Row Rochers.
Nice.
Ferrero Rushers.
Ferrari Row.
Like I said, Hot Wheels. Big on Hot
Oh,
Wheels.
cool.
Used to
Very
get
nice.
those.
But no tracks, obviously.
No.
Just the cars.
Exactly.
What's your favorite car?
Honda Civic.
Nice. Yeah. No bias involved.
Definitely not what I drive.
He bought the dream car in his first year of casting.
No, my dreams are just affordable.
You say that in French. Affordable.
I did.
Affordably.
Molotov's going to deny the forklift peak. So all these CTs that are grouped up have 2 choices. Wrap back around towards site or run through smoke. No. Launders, no.
I don't. Yeah, maybe not.
Cutler's MP5 does gun them down. JDM's op comes into the equation, and they kind of, stave off the fears for at least one more. But I was getting flashbacks. I feel like we're a nom.
Yeah. You remember what that was like when you were in Nam?
Yeah.
Yeah. Flashbacks to that.
I try not to think about it, but
Too many war games.
when it gets there. I actually watched, on the plane over, I did watch Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh.
Yep. You know that movie?
No, but
Oh.
I always knew that saying because of what show was it? There was a show where they said "Good Morning Vietnam" as a comedy show. I can't remember what it was.
Maybe MASH?
I'm not sure.
All I know is that Robin Williams is in it, and it's a fantastic performance.
Cool. Rest in peace, the legend.
Now, considering the amount of damage we've seen off of just the pistols, you'd think INTZ on a full buy would have this in the bag.
Should have it wrapped up, sewed shut, wired shut. Body bags.
Corpses. Inside of the body bags.
Inside of them, tagged.
That's what INTZ are envisionizing.
Toe tagged and bagged.
Envisionizing. Jesus.
Envisiorizing.
If there's anything that I think might prove difficult, though, it's staving off these Molotovs, because the utility's so low for INTZ. What was that flashbang,
That was
Joe?
the ultimate pop flash right there.
Yeah? You just gotta spit it out,
We're just not on his level.
like when you catch a dog chewing on something it's not supposed to, it just kind of onto the dirt. Well, that's
Yeah.
what Drone just did with this flash.
That was a funny noise you made. Can we hear that again?
A man of sound effects, Launders. I think it's the French in me.
You're going to the big league soon. You can feel it.
Ooh, looked like there was almost a gap in that, but nope. It's just Cello from the bomb site to get the first kill. Phelps another one, and they are just cutting them down on the cross. They can't find footing at all. JDM hoping for a target, but the first player he sees drops him. And INTZ, like we said, the moment they get guns, 5-man sweep.
5-man sweep. Look at those rotations. Literally everyone was there, even though it wasn't even labored trades. EnVy were on the site. Everyone died almost instantly, but almost all 5 CTs were there so quickly. They had good information the whole time, and I like how they played the site. Something we talked about, where if you have 2 people on the site, one ready to flash, another one crack spotting, or they hear listening, and then he just right-clicks a smoke onto the site to separate people, force them to come through the smoke or run a headshot, and then the CTs should have some advantage in there. They push that advantage in a masterful way, made sure not to lose a single man. And now EnVy are back on the force to force, because they're fighting against match point. This is the only option they have. A main control is taken for INTZ, and Sempis tried to seek out if there was somebody there. He did find out that control had been taken a while ago. Minute 14, and it's clear that EnVy want to take a main control back, and maybe push all the way on to the A site. And they will come in response to let them know they are not welcome.
Go away.
Go away.
Molotov really kind of hammers that message home.
Yep.
You know, some people have welcome signs, others have frag grenades.
Normal people, yeah. I feel like you're the one with the frag, actually, but I haven't been to your house.
Take that as a hint.
Okay.
Don't show up. You may find yourself in trouble. Clearly like EnVy, who still, because of those nades, haven't made their move into A main. They'll have a little bit more presence towards mid, so this enables the highway split into the A site. But the problem is for EnVy that there's bodies all over A, so they can watch highway squeaky and still have a player dedicated to the lockers here in Horvey. Whoa, the damage. A double dink versus drone and JDM. I mean, that spells disaster.
They don't have time to go to B, so
they have to run in.
Yeah, this is it.
It's going to be a real trial and tribulation, but they still do manage to. Lining up for Phelps, pushing him over the line. 31 frags at the end of Cash in order to seal the deal. That is a 16-6 scoreline, an improvement as to what we saw on Train, but at the end of the day, this was convincing.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing. I mean, EnVy even managed to get eco somewhere in that second half. The only reason they got 6 rounds is probably because they won a pistol. Apart from that, looked like overall very lackluster. INTZ looked super solid. I'm more interested now to see if INTZ played another team, how good they'd look.
Yeah.
You know, is it just EnVy helping them shine?
Right, so this is what I was thinking yesterday with Luminosity kind of, you know, improving that scoreline towards now the middle of the season, seeing as they started off so poorly. Maybe we'll get the same thing from INTZ, because if we take a look at the standings, those 2 teams are floating around, you know, just outside of that top 6,
yeah.
Which means they're gunning not just, you know, to avoid the auto relegation, but now actually for land finals.
No, it's crazy. It's changing the narrative a little bit. They're a team we didn't expect to see. We thought they'd be in the relegation battle, and now we actually think they can make top 6. So,
right.
You know, they're officially the dark horse of the entire season, it feels like, and that's a pretty good spot to fill. And
I'm extra excited as well to see some, you know, individual step up from Zand. That was nice. Another of the key pieces that kind of swapped out tonight. So props to them. 2-0 win in convincing fashion. And we're going to go ahead and include 2 other gentlemen in this conversation. It is James Banks and Natu.
Thank you, guys. There's only so much you can really say about that. Again, a lackluster performance from the EnVy squad. Natu just, yeah, hopes and dreams crushed at this point.
Yeah, bit of a tough start to the night, for sure. I mean, not exactly the kind of banging Counter-Strike we would have hoped for.
Yep.
Let's be honest. I mean, just literally one team showed up today, and that was INTZ, or for the start of the day. EnVy, the first couple of weapon runs were pretty much summarized as the way that they, the way that INTZ needed to play that T side. They were literally doing the good old double stack with an AWP on top of the truck back in T spawn.
Yeah.
Getting free kills as the guys jumping around the wide box. Oh, here we go. Actually, it's a nice shot, nonetheless. But still, I mean, that was kind of the picture of the whole thing, and I was just really missing EnVy having any kind of a game plan for this CT side, because you need to have one on a map of Cash. You need to be, you know, either playing super aggressive middle. If you lose middle control, then you contest A main. Have all these little gimmicks here and there to make it harder for the T's to build up their rounds, but none to be seen.
And when you say none to be seen, I think we can kind of glass over away from EnVy a little bit here and look more to INTZ. We were very critical of them on the first week, not delivering to what we expected, but this at least shows, okay, you can do better against the weaker opposition. Did you see anything, though, that would kind of allow you to believe that, oh, they might have a bit more of a chance going forward?
I mean, the bad thing here is, from my perspective, it's just how lackluster EnVy is. So it's really super hard to judge whether or not INTZ were doing.
Yeah.
If it was them, because they were given so much room and so many things. Like pretty much, I mean, they won an eco, full-on eco, without armor. They bought one P250 basically.
And it was just a run and gun.
Like
yippee ki yay! I won't finish the rest of that.
When you're winning rounds like that, yes, you can take credit and be like, "Hey, we won the round," you know, a silly round. But you know, when it's on top of a game that's been, or 2 map series that's gone the way that those did, it's really hard for me or themselves. I don't think they will be taking too much credit on it either, because they must have felt that EnVy definitely wasn't a player, even up to the potential that they have shown so far in the season.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's now looking bleak. More than bleak for EnVy. At least the INTZ can say, okay, look, we're walking away with some of the easier wins. It's not down and out of it yet. And the main thing here is to avoid relegation at this point. So they have at least done that by getting a 2-0 now for this one. And I think it's EnVy who just needs so much more practice, something to work on here, because it was so disjointed. Yes,
it definitely was. I don't know. It's hard to really point a finger on what's going on, because it felt to me on both maps actually that they were just lacking a plan altogether. You know, at times it felt like, you know, they were not even let alone in the same page, but even in the same book. In a lot of the things that were happening on that server. So, yeah, I mean, if anything, it feels like they've gone worse as the season has gone along, because I thought they started better than they are now. You know,
I agree. Yeah.
To where do we now played 8,
9.
9. Yeah.
You missed 8. Don't worry.
That's true. Yes, I wasn't there for 8, so it makes sense. So I mean, you know, it's pretty deep into the season already, and they seem to be actually declining in terms of how they play together.
It's not good signs either way. But what we are going to do is take a quick look at a little bit more from our armory. I know you guys love this stuff. It's super fancy, and this time around we're going to be looking at the AK-47.
Wood, iron, and an insane amount of raw, unfiltered power that would make the motherland proud. It's time we take a closer look at this rifle right here, and what we like to think of as Rambo's walk-in closet, the armory. It makes as much noise as it does damage, and you'll be hard-pressed to find a weapon that's more recognizable than this. From the land of babushka dolls, vodka, and unrelenting weather, it's the most durable rifle around and is only found on the terrorist side. But you can bet your pocket money that the CTs would like it to save it from a downed enemy. Feast your eyes upon the AK-47. It's not as accurate as the M4s, but why do all the pros drop their more expensive M4s to pick up the cheaper AK-47, you ask? Well, it all boils down to one simple thing: its ability to one-shot opponents in the head. $2,700 is what you need to get this gun in your hands, and it does 36 damage, which gives it the highest damage of all the assault rifles in the game. Compared to its counterparts on the CT side, the recoil is a lot higher, which makes it harder to control. The two M4s only do 91 damage when headshotting an enemy with a helmet. The AK-47, on the other hand, just instantly kills players whether they're 2 units or 100 units away. It can do this because of the armor penetration stat. The AK-47 has 77.5% armor penetration, where the M4s only have 70, and that's the reason why pros often look to swap out an M4 for an AK-47. In a competitive game like CSGO, where every second counts, the ability to kill someone with 1 shot instead of 2 makes a world of difference. A world of difference that I'll show you right now. A weapon born in the Soviet Republic should be showcased on Dcash, of course. And first off, I'll show you the spray pattern, which is pretty hard to control. See here how the bullets are all over the place. But if you practice enough, you can learn to counter the recoil like a pro, as shown right here. And now, I'll show you how it actually works when engaging an opponent. See here how the crosshair is actually below the target even though the bullets are still hitting the CT player. That's because our terrorist player pulls down on the mouse to compensate for the recoil. But now, I'll show you the true strength of the AK-47. This fully armored CT holds Garage from White Box, but it doesn't matter that he hits our terrorist with a headshot, because out of all the full-auto rifles, it's only the AK-47 that's lethal to armored enemies. And this is the reason why the AK-47 is the most used gun in CSGO. Despite its high recoil and lower accuracy, its ability to one-shot opponents and rip their armor apart outweighs all the other assault rifles in the game.
The staple of Counter-Strike across the board, the AK-47. I love these little pieces because it's like, it's nicer for the new viewers, new people coming to Counter-Strike, get to educate them a little bit more on the guns and go a little bit more into detail, and that looks really fly as hell.
It does really, yeah. They've done a great work with the setup of those videos for sure. But I mean, like said in the Armory video there, AK-47, it's a staple of Counter-Strike. And it's just the headshot ability. I feel like it's definitely what makes it such a satisfying weapon to use. And obviously, you know, you can literally just you hit once in the head and your opponent's done for. And then when you get the grasp of the recoil, even though it's the toughest out of all of them in Counter-Strike, you can make a lot of work with it, even when full auto. So it's a super versatile weapon. I mean, now that they're trying to introduce the SG into the play and AUG into the play, so it's interesting to see how that changes going forward. Already seeing a bunch of players go for the well, how would you call them? The rifles with the sights. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
so
scoped rifles. That's it.
Yeah. If they rival the AK and the M4s, but still, I feel like AK-47 is the one and only.
Oh yes, I don't think we'll be replacing the AK-47 anytime soon, but if you're a man who likes to use the AK-47, or a woman, we've got to be politically correct in 2018, you might want to join up and sign up to ESCA.net, where you can get some better Counter-Strike under your wings, and that could lead you quite nicely over to kind of upping your game, becoming a more well-rounded player, and head your way into the MDL. The MDL is your way and your ticket to try and get up here to the Pro League level. So you've got to kind of qualify through that. And so at the moment, you guys are fighting through that, right? Through the MDL?
MDL, yeah.
And the European MDL.
It's tough.
That is tough.
Yeah, it's a minefield.
Yeah. The thing is, right, where Europe is so stacked in teams, I would never want to have to go. If you get relegated from Pro League to MDL, you're just like, great, back to the drawing board.
Listen, have you seen the potential, like Chad actually put this on Twitter, the potential teams just only in the minor qualifiers from Europe into the next actual European minor?
Good luck.
It's that list of teams is pretty spicy.
It just gets better every year because of our crazy major format, but it's one of them things we have to deal with. But what we're going to look at now ahead of our next game, the next game we've got to wait a little bit for. It's MIBR versus Team Liquid, but we'll get on to that very soon. First of all, we're going to have a look at some of the top plays coming out from ESL 1 New York.
Bomb is down in a treacherous position too.
Look at JW, he's surrounded by CTs. He's going to get pressured, but he thrives. He gets one, he survives. Chris J, he could be in trouble too. Backing away now, he's just playing the time. He's got another one, and another one.
He needs to do this. This has been so sick from JW. 3 kills already, the 4th. Oh, the dance begins, and he's just a little bit quicker at the steps. Hello?
4 players on top of each other's heads.
Where can he see right now?
Cirque, once that train's gone, he will have eyes towards upper. Oh, and he gets him on the boost.
They're channeling their energy towards him. He has to do something rather magical, and there is a player to his right. Might have a shot, does connect onto Oscar. That's a start.
The defense is on the way, and now he needs to stand tall and deliver. Oh, Cirque!
Dren is ready for it. Simple, definitely capable of winning these rounds. What a shot that is.
Simple going to try and push back as well as he has to. Knowing that he's been isolated, how does he find Mir in that situation? And he's kept track of exactly where he is by way of the radar. He can certainly hear Mo trying to get closer, and somehow, control on the P2000 as Twist tries to do everything to defend the bomb. 2 kills for him. Knows that he can pull Oscar off it, but he's got to fight Stacks first. He's got that Twist. He's going to try!
Left to Oscar, he's on the site, here they come, that's the first. He catches a glimpse of a second as well towards the site. Oscar needs to hit this, he does. Aggression on shot! 3 in quick succession! Of course, near library, Breezy. He's exposed himself. Oh, and Oscar!
Tactical, Simple's timing, perfect. One of the 2 guns, and he gets 3 kills with it. He's looking for the 4th. He'll take the bomb down as well. It's just Doja left.
Wants to try and hold off the rotations. Oscar's gone. Chris is an op still in the picture. Op still very much in the round. Oh, Chris! He's found 3. It's down to a 2-on-2. Chris, can he close this with an ace? Oh my God! Chris, the Wolf of Wall Street gets an ace, and it's championship point Mouse Sports.